Okay, Sawadi. Right now I believe we on the tables now. Wow. Okay, now for the tables, I wanna go through a bit of some theory with you. Okay. Then we're gonna play around with tables. Okay. Now let's go through a bit of some theory and get a blue color or something. Okay. Let's draw a little something. Okay, when we have something going from top to bottom like this. Okay, from top to bottom like this. This I believe are rows, right? And then going this way. In fact, no. No, these are not rows. These are columns, right? Okay, so now we'll just put a C there and we'll put an R there. Okay, these are columns, these are rows. Now rows go this way, columns go this way, I believe. Okay, we have this, then we have this. Okay, wow. Okay, let me do this. We're gonna call this T. Wow. TR, and then we'll call this TD. Okay, call this TR and that TD. Okay, we'll have that as a key. Alright, kabish. Okay, let's just remember this. Okay, TR TD, just remember that. Right, now let's get through with it. Okay, let's see if I can put this at the top. Okay. Okay, let's build something. Let's build a table. I've already set this language to HTML. So we're going to begin from the beginning. Of course, our opening tag for HTML, and then our closing tag for HTML. Right? Then everything is in between. Okay. I'm gonna leave all the other fundamentals like the head, the title, and everything. I'm just gonna go straight to business. Okay, we're gonna go straight into the table. Okay, now when you're creating a table, you need to first tell the web browser that there's going to be a table. Okay, and close that. So you're just gonna tell it, I'm going to define a table. My table is going to begin somewhere. It's going to begin there and it's going to end there. Okay, now that's all we have. Okay, you need to first tell it that you're going to have a table. Okay, now after telling it you're going to have a table, then you can go in and jump straight into creating the table. Okay, so now number one with the table is this. You're going to first create a row. The row is always the first thing. After the row, then you create a column. Let me show you a little something. It's kind of something like this. Let me choose a different color. Something like no, it will look the same. Let's just take this. Okay. First of all, you're telling it a row first. Once you've received the row, then you insert the table. Okay. Just always remember that row first, then table. That's the best way I can explain it for you to understand it in a much easier way. Okay, now let's jump into it. Okay, we have a table. Okay, we just told you there's gonna be a table. Now remember what I said, the row first, then the table. Now this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna tell it. Now remember, when you have a row going this way, you can have multiple columns that are going to form cells from that row. So it's going to be this way, and then you have having the others forming in this way. Okay, that's how it's going to be. So now first of all, we're going to set up our row, which is the one going this way. It's going in this direction. So we're gonna have a table row. Okay, we're gonna have a table row, then the table row will begin there and it will close right there. Right, now this table row is going to have some columns that it's going to form cells out of, as I've explained. Alright, Okay, we're going to define those cells using TD as explained. Now those are the columns, huh? Okay, so we're gonna have TD right there. So what I've said is that I've actually created something here from table row 1 column 1. Okay, now from here I can type the content that I want to be inside the cell. Now I'm gonna call this I can put something like that, name. Let's create a register. Okay, there, and then we're gonna close that. Okay, then you can close the TD. Right, now let's go ahead and save this and see what we have. See, we have a name. Okay, now below that, when I keep going and creating these TDs from name, the next one is going to be here because they are all under one row. Okay, they are all under a row going in that way. Okay, from name, then the next one I'm going to insert here. Let's just create a surname. Okay, then we're going to create a surname one. Now the surname one is going to be immediately after that. See, now you've noticed that there are no boxes here. That's because we have not specified any sizes of cells whatsoever. Now let's go ahead and define those inside the table tag here. Let's go ahead and define something. Now here we're just gonna say border. We're gonna create a nice little border around the table there. Okay, now we're gonna put the border to 1. 1 is the smallest. Okay, if you go up they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now too big will be a little bit silly. Okay, so we're just gonna have the border with the size of 1. Okay, there we have a little something there. That's really cool. Then we can define spaces around the cells, spaces between the cells, I mean. So to do that we're just gonna say width. Okay, now the width, that's the one that we're going to define. When we're defining the width, we actually define it with percentages. No, I'm lying. We don't define it with percentages. No, it is percentages. Okay, we can say the width will be 100. No, let's set the width to 50. Let's set the width to 50. Okay, I believe the width is percentages if I'm not mistaken. There we go. The spaces are working out fine. There we go. The spaces between the cells, the space between there and there, that's 50%. I got no idea why they chose percentage out of all things, but it's still percentage. We'll work with percentage for now. Right, so we have a row with 2 cells forming from 2 separate columns. So we have a row and we have column 1, column 2, meaning cell 1 and cell 2. Okay, so now we have that row. Now we can insert another row. We're gonna have to get out of this segment there. Then we're gonna go into another segment for another row, which means we'll now be doing this row. We won't be working in that row anymore. Okay, now we can be working in this row. Okay, now that one will begin there and end here. Okay, while we in there we go. Now of course using rows and columns you form cells. From there then we can insert another TD of ours. This is now going to be this one. Okay, it's now going to be this one. Now if you notice that this one is exactly below name. Okay, now this is the part where we actually get to insert some names. Now let me just include myself. Let's say Tinashi. Okay, then we're going to close this one. TD, we close this. Okay, then surname, I'm sure surname is now the one exactly below surname. Okay, that's the one that's going to be there and TD there. First we open it and then go in and put my surname and TD, then there. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. Boom, now we've got something. Now of course this looks a bit awkward to be a table. I mean a standard table, you'll be having, you know, these words like maybe in bold or so. So let's put the words name and surname in bold. If you remember previously, if you begin with it, then it should be the one nearest, you know, put it in the correct order. we have the B there, opening the bold tag, then immediately after name we're going to close the B. Okay, even the surname right there, we're going to have it there, we're gonna say B there. Okay, then we're also going to close the B. Okay, nice and easy, huh? Okay, now save this and see. There, we've got it in bold. Okay, now let's do a bit of some font sizes. Let's play with some font sizes in here as well. Okay, let's change the font size of name to maybe like size 15 or something. Okay, there we go. So when we're defining a font size, we're going to open a tag, and we're going to the name of this tag is font. Okay, all right, now this font is gonna open there, and it's gonna close here. Let's see font. Okay, let me do this just so everything is visible. I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, there. Now font begins here and it ends there, but now inside the opening of the font tag, since we are defining a font size, inside this tag we're going to define the size. Now the font size that I want is size 15. Okay, so we have size 15, meaning that font, we want the size to be 15 and it should end here. Okay, then we have font size 15. Let's do that with the surname as well. So of course we're gonna just do this font, open it there and there, font should close there. Okay, we'll go to the font there, we'll set the size there to 15 as well. Okay, then we'll save this, and then if we refresh it there, really cool. Why is the E out? Because it's there, it's far from the others. Okay, the E should be there. Okay, the E should be there. We've done some font sizes. Let's go ahead and put a font type. Okay, because this looks like Arial to me. I don't know if that's Arial or what. Let's go ahead and check some font sizes. Let's go to Microsoft Word and have a look at some font sizes. Pick a font size for yourself. Okay, I don't think we'll need this any longer. I believe you've understood this part, so let's go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, now let's just open a blank document. Let's find a good font size for us to use. Okay, I'm gonna just agent just so everything is visible. Okay, now here we've got some font names. Okay, so now I'm gonna choose a font for myself. Let's just say Algerian. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and copy the name here. Go ahead and copy the name Algerian, because I kind of like this font. So I'm gonna go back to my Notepad++. Now when I'm defining a font type, inside that very same font tag where I've set the size, I'm gonna create another argument in here, and in here that's when I'm going to say the font face. It's no longer font type, but now it's font face. So I'm gonna set the font type, in this case, to Algerian. Alright, to Algerian. I'm also gonna do this to the surname. I'm gonna open a new thing and set a new variable called face, and then that variable I'm gonna set it to Algerian and close. Now of course the font tag closes there, so I'm just saying font size 15, type Algerian, the word name ends there. Easy as that. Okay, now let's go ahead and see how that looks. There we go. See, yeah, I'm a dog. Woo-hoo. Okay, I believe this is the basics of all tables. You're probably wondering, what if I overlap? If I have 2 here and I end up having 3 here, what would happen? Do we have another cell sticking out here or what? Let's see. Okay, let's see what happens if we overlap those. Let's just say and let's just say 12. Okay, the TD will close that. since we have two at the top here, and then now we have 3 at the bottom here, does that mean we'll have a cell sticking out here and nothing there? Let's see what actually happens. Boom, the cell is there but the table is not. You need to notice that the cell is there but the table is not. The table is not there at all, okay, because these things, they have a direct proportion between one another. If there is 3 there for the table, in this case, if the table says it's 3 by 2, because in this case the table says it's 3 by 2, it's going to be 1 2 3, okay, by 1 2. That's what the table says, but according to my cells, this is a 2 by 3, which is a 1 2 1 2 3. Okay, so that's a 2 by 3. So now the table is going to keep the proportion but the cells will not. But then that one doesn't matter. I'm sure in your exams that will not be a problem at all. Okay, so that is all with the table. Nice and easy, huh? Now let's recap. You open the table, you set the border around it. You know, how thick do you want the border to be? Let's play around with this. If I want this border to be 5 points thick, then it will also get thicker. See, that's quite stylish if you ask me. Okay, we set the thickness. You can set the width, you know, which is the space between the cells. You know, this space between those cells, you know, that how many points till the next cell begins. You see, nice and easy, huh? Then TR is for the rows, then TD is for the columns. In this row we're going to have these columns, in this row we'll have these columns, in this row we're going to have these columns. That's basically what you're saying. With rows and columns all together, you will make cells. Always remember that. TR and TD, those are the pretty much basic elements. So if I was to sketch something like this, which I'm having here, is that I'll be having, we have 1 right, and 2, isn't it? Those are the rows that we're having, so that's just 1 and 2. Okay, so that is 1 and that is 2. Okay, and then here we've got 1, we've got 2. Okay, and we also have 1 2 and 3. So in total we've got name, surname, right? That's the ones in the beginning. Okay, so that we're going to be having this would be number 1, and then we'll have number 2 there. That's all we have for the first one. Okay, so according to the way it will draw it is that, so this would now be a complete cell, and then this would now be a complete cell. That's how it's going to draw it. But now here there's 3. Okay, so a row and column would form one there, row and column would form another. Okay, but since there's 3, there's going to be another. That's the way in which it would understand it. Okay, I just hope everything was clear enough. Go ahead and practice these. You can actually try and recreate one that I've created to feel free to use my name but not my surname. Just kidding, you can feel free to use whatever you want. Play around with these and see what you got. Okay, see you in the next one.